What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Real Estate Virgins podcast, where we are here to elevate your business in 2024 and beyond. As John likes to say, we are not agents just talking that talk, baby. We are walking the walk
every day.
Doesn't matter if you are a new agent, experienced agent. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, especially our returning listeners. We appreciate your support. We're here to elevate your business by interviewing top producing agents from all over the country, from a variety of brokerages, and sharing our tactical tips and tricks that are working in our business to help navigate this, not just post-settlement era that we're in, but just the constantly changing landscape of real estate. So we appreciate you tuning in. And before we get started, if you hear anything at all that helps you in your business here today in one of these episodes or a past episode, one free, easy way that you can support the podcast, because this is completely free, give us a like. If you're on YouTube or whatever medium you're watching on, give us that 5-star review. We much appreciate it. Lets us know that we're doing a good job for you. My name is Jordan Brown at Jordan Sells ATX on Instagram. Here with my co-host John Michael Perez. What's going on, brother?
What's up, guys? John Michael Perez at John Michael Perez on Instagram, Facebook. That's pretty much
everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
But those are really the only ones we're on. So
I did change my TikTok to sell more houses.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about diving a little more into the TikTok side?
Yeah.
I got a lead from TikTok 2 days ago. I'm pretty excited about it. Like, I've talked about it all the time on here. I was shocked that I've even closed a deal from TikTok, and my videos don't pop off. It's not like I'm getting hundreds of thousands of views or anything, and not even tens of thousands of views. I'm getting like 600 per video.
Yeah.
Which by most standards is not great. I don't care. I want those leads, baby, and that's what's happening. So I'm absolutely going in on TikTok.
You know, there's that saying, done is better than perfect. And a lot of people think that you need hundreds of thousands of views to start getting leads. And that is absolutely incorrect, because you can actually just get a couple hundred views. And if the right person sees it and you're able to convert that attention into paying clients, then it's so worth it. And the thing is we've been teaching how to get leads a lot, but the secret weapon is how to convert leads.
Mm-hmm. What do you do with the opportunity?
Right. And, you know, you and I have some tactics and strategies. We've talked about them in the past, but I've noticed that a lot of people don't know how to convert. Like they are hungry and they'll get leads and they're omnipresent, or they'll be all over the internet, but they can't convert them. It's like
a dog when it catches the car. It doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, the chase is really exciting and they're up for the chase, but then what do you do when we catch it and you go, oh, it's over. It's over. Like, what do I do now?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
You're right.
And I mean, just a few quick tips is jumping on the phone as soon as possible, and then trying to get into an in-person meeting as soon as possible, or a Zoom. And we do that with all of our even with when new agents join our team, when new clients reach out to us to buy or sell a home, we try to get on the phone as soon as possible. We don't waste too much time on texting or emailing. We just say, here's our phone number, or what's a good phone number, and we jump on the phone as soon as possible.
Yeah, leads of any kind. Doesn't matter if it's in sales or if it's an opportunity to partner with someone. The quickest, easiest thing to do that we're trying to do is eliminate the black and white text where you're not getting to know me much. You know, you don't get to hear the empathy in my voice or the care that I'm trying to convey. It's just black and white.
Yeah.
And so if I can get you from text to either call or, like you said, Zoom, those are second level communication. But ideally, we want to be in person. And usually it's the phone call that gets you in person.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you're going to get someone who sends you a message and says, hey, I'm interested in buying. You're like, great, let's meet up here at this place. And they're like, yeah, I'm on board. Usually they want to hear, you want to break down that barrier of unfamiliarity as quickly as possible. Phone call is a great way to do that. Millennials and Gen Z, you are shaking in your boots that you have to call people. That is a part of this business, baby.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I grew up in the era. Do you remember before, like, you would have to memorize people's phone numbers?
Yeah.
And like cell phones and stuff. And you'd have to wait till.
I had a list of phone numbers.
We're going to date ourselves a little bit here. I know our younger crowd probably like doesn't know anything about what we're talking about here, but you used to have to wait till like after 7 to make your phone call so it wouldn't count against your minutes.
Yeah.
and then data and all. Oh my gosh, what a time! Crazy how fast and different things are compared to when we were growing up to now. But now we are those old people, and just talking about how things have changed so much in such little time. I'm excited to see what the next 20 years will bring us.
Yeah, things are moving fast, and I think AI is definitely something that's going to be the next up to bat. But a lot of the people that are leading the AI front are saying AI isn't going to replace the agent. The agent that doesn't use AI is going to get replaced.
Absolutely. Yeah, Phil Stringer, really, hopefully we can get him on the podcast someday. We went to a training of his here in Austin, and he was just fantastic about here's how you can utilize these AI tools to make less work for yourself.
Yeah.
Editing like Opus Clip or ChatGPT is a really popular one. How can you train ChatGPT to learn more about your business and give you more honed in answers as to what you're the general questions that you ask can be altered when you tell it what you are.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, hey, give me video prompts about real estate in Austin, beforehand, you can say, I am a realtor in Austin, Texas. I am a millennial looking to appeal to other millennial first-time home buyers. The goal of my video is to educate and convert leads. Now write me 10 video ideas, and the answers will be drastically different.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I was talking to one of the speakers at Atlas Alliance, which is the conference I went to in Nashville, and he was talking about how he's training his AI to speak like him, right? And when it comes to like newsletters, when it comes to content, and he'll ask it questions and it will answer it in the way that he types and he writes, right? And so basically he feeds the AI program stuff that he's already written, and then it studies it, and then when he asks it questions, it answers it as how he wrote, right?
Feels like a Black Mirror episode. Have you seen that one where you can spoiler alert for anyone, I mean, it's been out for long enough, we can talk about it. If it's your fault if you haven't seen it at this point. You can basically train an AI, and there's this company where you send like the emails, the text messages, the voicemails, and they basically make another human that's just like that person based on the AI learning. Kind of crazy. But anyway, I think that's really cool. In messaging and branding, like that's what that helps with.
Yeah.
Because you want your tone to be consistent. That's one thing about when you set up a CRM and they have like custom drip campaigns. You want to go in and you want to look at those and you want to customize them and make them tailored to what you want to say.
Yeah.
Because not all the time when you're following up with someone do you want to sound like what is already in there. You want it to sound like you. Like maybe you're more relaxed in your approach, and instead of saying, good evening, Mr. First Name, maybe it's, hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
Was thinking about you today. It's different tones, and you want it to be authentic to your brand.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Adam Gillespie. He's a AI pro as well. Maybe we can get him on the he's in with the Wolfpack as well. He'd be a good option, a good guest to get on.
You mentioned that you went to the Atlas Alliance event in Nashville. Let's talk about that. Maybe some takeaways that you took from it, your experience and your time in Nashville. You've been very high on Nashville since you came back. Austin's not even feeling the love anymore. It's almost like you ditched the love for Austin. What's going on there?
Nashville's awesome, man. It's like a clean version of Austin, And
a clean version. I love that.
Yeah, I'm talking about like physically clean. Like they take care of their streets. You know.
That's what I hear about Japan too. Japan's apparently like one of the cleanest cities in the world, and people have a lot of pride that are there, and they pick up after themselves and after others. And
and
so Nashville's like the utopia that Austin thinks it is.
Yeah, and it has the same entrepreneurial energy like throughout the downtown area. People that are driven, people that are pushing to better levels. And that conference was really good, man. I learned a lot, and I was really there for networking and just maintaining relationships, and just surrounding myself with all of our team and stuff like that. And one thing that really surprised me, that transactions nationally are down 40%. Like that.
Repeat that one more time for the people in the back who missed it the first time you said it. What was that?
Transactions nationally are down 40%.
Woo! So if it feels a little bit slower this year, it's not just you. It is not just you.
Yeah. And then something that one of the speakers said, Josh, his name's Josh, he was saying that, and this is a little counterintuitive to what I just said, but he said that if you are blaming the market, you are saying that something externally is more powerful than yourself, and basically you're saying that the market is controlling your business, and you can control your own actions in order to beat the market.
I'm going to say something unpopular.
Go ahead.
I get it. I do. I somewhat disagree.
Okay.
I somewhat disagree. I know that there's people out there crushing it despite market conditions, 100%.
Yeah.
But I think when you're talking about like national levels of struggle, I think that says something. One, I also think that it's more than just necessarily like your hyper local market. It's more about what's going on like nationwide. We've talked about it multiple times. It's an election year. A lot of people holding off to see what happens there. So then when you pair that with what's going on in your hyper local market, those two things kind of add up. Now I agree. I think if you're not busting your butt to escape what's happening in the market, the drag down that the market is having on your business, then yes, absolutely. Like you can't sit there and say, well, I expect that this year should be as good as my best years because even though the market's worse, it should be better, but I'm doing the same amount of work. You need to be doing more if you want to outpace that market. I get that.
Well, he was saying that a lot of people are playing defensive. They're doing the exact same strategies and daily habits that they were doing in 2020, 2021, right? And unfortunately, in a different market, you are going to get different results with those same strategies that you were doing, right? It's like those brokerages that are teaching strategies from the early 2000s right now, right?
Yeah.
And you're like,
now that I can get behind. You
Right.
got to be more on the offensive.
Yes.
Right now, if your business is slow, you can't take a defensive approach.
yeah. And defensive to me is putting out a video and then expecting leads to come to you, right? That's defensive, in my opinion. Offensive to me is putting out a video and then looking through your likes and comments and then being intentional on messaging every single person that likes and comments and trying to build a relationship outside of just a network, right? It's like a game of networking, you know, like, hey man, how you doing? You doing all right? Would you like to jump on a Zoom and see how you and I can help each other, right? And genuinely come from a place of value, right? And so it's now it's like, okay, let's jump on a Zoom on Tuesday. Let me see what you've got going. Maybe I can help you, and then I'll tell you what I've got going on, and maybe you can help me. Right?
Yeah, and I 100% agree. Now, we didn't plan this, but funny enough, that lead I was talking about that I got from TikTok, I took an initially defensive approach. They left a comment. They said, "What are your what neighborhoods do you recommend for families around Austin?" Now, that's a pretty open-ended question, and you only have so many characters to respond. So what I did is I said, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you about this. Feel free to shoot me a text," and I sent my number. Now, granted, this is some person on the internet who doesn't even have their picture or their name on it.
Yeah.
So, like, very low likelihood of conversing with this person on a real level. But I was like, I'm just going to put it out there and see what happens. Now, I noticed they liked the comment, but I didn't get any communications. So last night, I actually I followed them, and I sent them an inbox message. And I said, hey, I wasn't trying to pressure you into calling me or something like that. I said, there's only so much, same explanation. There's only so much I can do in a reply. But I'd love, let me meet you here in this safe space of the method you reached out to me, and let's talk. And we had some great back and forth. And now I know that within the next 6 to 12 months, I'm on their radar.
Perfect.
So, and that's the more offensive. I kind of thought of that. Funny enough, you and I had this conversation offline a couple of days ago about offense, playing offense versus defense. And I thought about it, and I went, in my head, I have someone who's like clearly interested in something. How do I get in front of this person? Like, how do I go get this?
Yeah.
And so it changed my action. And I think hopefully the result will be from taking a more offensive approach.
Yeah. And and then auditing your daily activities and seeing if it's either you're busy or you're productive, right? Because two different things, right? A lot of people think that they are productive when they're just busy, right? And for me,
so good.
and
That's
for
so good.
and for me, I've been locking arms and hanging out with people that are on another level, right? They're on the multiple seven figures a year level, right? And what I'm noticing is a few things. One, they don't like wasting time, right? Number two, if they figure out that it's a waste of time, they cut it off quickly,
Yeah.
right? They cut it off quickly.
You're a lot better at that than I am.
Yeah.
100%. It's almost like they protect their time so that they recognize that if something's not feeding towards the end goal, then I need to cut this out, and then go back to what was working or producing that result.
Yeah. And man, another thing. Oh, this is a great one. What I've noticed, I've been interviewing and really rubbing shoulders with a lot of people that are on another level. And what I've noticed is that these guys, the time between they have an idea and they take action are way different than the average person, right? The idea, the planning is very short. The action and the execution is very fast and long, right? And consistent, right? So,
And probably isn't, maybe not perfect at the start.
Definitely.
But they make tweaks as they go.
yeah,
And we've been a big proponent of consistency.
Yeah.
No matter what you do it consistently, tweak over time.
Yeah.
And soon enough, your end result a year from now, or your product a year from now, is is completely different than what it started off. But if you wouldn't have started, you would have overthought it. And who knows if you would have ever started.
yeah. And there's this guy, he makes like 10 million a year. And he told me, he was like, John, it's not the biggest in the jungle that eats the most. It's the fastest that eats the slowest that eats the most, right? And so when you can go from planning and ideas to executing quicker, the faster you'll get better results, right? There's too many people out there that plan ideas for too long, and then the executing in action is very small, right? And so that's one thing that I've been really analyzing in my life is like, what am I planning or idea in? What am I too long in the idea and planning phase, right?
I'm sure listeners are probably thinking to themselves, like identifying you've had a thought, you've had an idea about something that could affect your business, but maybe you're delaying it because you want it to be perfect first.
Yeah.
Or you're delaying it because, well, that's going to require some research on my end. I'll tell you this, a lot of realtors, down 40% this year. We got time. You should be executing things more consistently with this time.
Well, here's the thing. If we are planning and ideas, but we're taking action for a longer period of time, we're taking market share right now, right? 40% down. However, there's still agents that are selling houses, right? And there's still agents that are marketing themselves. They're getting attention. And although the people that are standing on the sidelines aren't buying or selling right now, the agents that are advertising and marketing themselves while the people on the sidelines aren't purchasing and buying, they are going to be way higher on the totem pole that will be reached out to by those people that are sitting on the sidelines.
I want to share a story. I can't remember if we talked about this last time or not, but I'm just going to rehash it because it fits so perfectly with this. Member of our team, Timberly, absolutely crushing on content. And
It's a great story, by the way.
I was talking with her the other day, and she says that she has this new buyer, and I started asking her about it, and she goes, I have this. It was a $2 million buyer at first. Fantastic client to have. And she said, after some conversation, come to find out they're actually going to be a $4 million client, or that their budget for the right property is up to $4 million. Awesome. I'm like, how did you get this? That's the goal. Like, everyone wants to know It's not what do you do once you get the client. More or less, that process is all the same. It's how did you uncover this fantastic $4 million lead? And she said,
That's $120,000 in commission.
a possible 120 grand commission check. And depending on how, again, there's no standard. Could be higher, could be lower. Who knows? NAR, get off my back. Anyway, but
On average.
yeah, on average, just fine.
In our market.
So anyway, upwards of $100,000+ at risk in commission. And it's like, how did you get this? And she said, they looked at my page, my content. They said this client knows multiple realtors, is good friends with multiple realtors, has realtors in their family. And because Timberly looks online like she is crushing and always busy, she posts multiple reels a day. Mm-hmm. The optics and perception is that this is who you need to work with. Look at how she shows up every single day.
Every day she shows up. And go follow her on Instagram.
If you need inspiration for like the model of like how to market yourself, she's fantastic. It doesn't matter if I remember she made a reel about being in the hotel room in Nashville at that Atlas event.
TX Timberly Real Estate on Instagram. Go check her out.
I love it that there's no excuse. It's not like, oh, well, I can't make content because I'm on the road and I'm in this hotel room. She posted like 3 things that day. And it doesn't like that's the beauty in
it's raining outside. I don't want to do any videos.
I just love and here's the thing. Don't make any mistake about it. Timberly does crush it. Aside from her content, she crushes.
She's driven too.
But she crushes and makes time for content and is consistent with it.
Yeah.
It is the model, the I wish I could like clone her,
Yeah.
and be like, look, this is what's possible. Because it's her. And I'm super proud of her for doing that and just really plugging in and getting after it.
She said something at that conference in Nashville. She goes, I don't know if a conference can be better than this. She was taking so much notes, and it was a great conference for sure. But the agents that plug in and take action are going to get results, right?
Yeah.
I was on a call yesterday with an agent that joined us. Her business is up 350% since she's joined.
Wow.
And I said, what's the difference? And she goes, I'm just doing what you guys say, but she's putting herself out there. She's plugging in. She's being open to advice. She has no ego, and that's very rare to find in real estate, right? I think ego and pride is one thing that holds a lot of people back. I mean, honestly, I still have a certain level of ego that I'm constantly telling myself, John, shut up, right?
Yeah.
Like, shut up and just listen, right? Because it's hard, to sort of lower ourselves in order to allow room for growth, right?
Well, I know that I felt a little bit of it too, where I go, look, year 1, I crushed it and I achieved a milestone that I never thought, like working in the corporate world. Like, oh my God, I made double my salary when I was over at my previous job. And then you're like, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, when you rub shoulders with people who are doing 7 figures in GCI, and you're like,
Double 7 figures.
and you're like, oh man, like I'm not Jack. I've got so much more I could be doing. Mm-hmm. And you see them doing it, and you see them being successful, and you don't watching people not let success stop them from doing the right things and the consistent things and just the constant pipeline building. It makes me realize like I could always be doing more.
Yeah.
And I'm having more of that conversation with myself now too, where I can't sit there and go, look, here's my track record. I'm comfortable. I'm doing the things that, good agents should. I could be doing more. Yeah. And I know I could be doing more. So,
and then there's a certain component of delayed gratification too, right? Because all of those agents that we talked about earlier, they didn't get a deal immediately, right? It probably took them 3, 4, 6 months to get that next deal, right? But within that 6 months, they were so consistent that the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month, deals just started adding up, right? And so having a certain level of delayed gratification and being consistent, right? Delayed gratification while being consistent and looking at your purpose, like I'm doing this more than just a commissions check, right? Like I'm genuinely caring for the client. I genuinely have a bigger goal than just myself. You're going to eventually level up.
Usually your results now are a reflection of what you've done over the last 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So if you're sitting there going, man, why don't I have the business right now? I challenge you to look at that time frame. What have you done for the last 3 to 6 months? Are you being as consistent as you are now? And if you don't let the lack of business currently and like you've picked up your productivity, don't get it twisted. That's not a reflection right now. Mm-hmm. Like John said, this is delayed gratification. You don't make 30 videos across 1 month and then instantly expect at the end of the month that you're going to have 10 closings from it. You know,
you may get 10 closings,
you might,
but it's going to take 6 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? To get to the first closing. You know what I mean?
So what other kind of lessons did you learn or did you take away from that conference?
One really good lesson was when you're making goals, make sure everyone around you knows about your goals so that they can support your vision. And especially the people that are close to you, right? Like the people that you can trust with those goals, right? And so for me, I needed to tell my wife, hey, I'm really planning on doing X, Y, and Z this month, right? Can you support me in that, right? One thing that I did earlier today was she goes, it's as simple as this. She goes, John, what do you want to eat today? And I told her, I said, honestly, the less decisions I have to make today, the better. So do you mind just picking something, right? Mm-hmm. And that opened something up in her and was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to start picking what he wants for lunch, right? I know that's super small, right? But top producing agents have a lot of decisions to make every single day, right? Just like, what's his name? The Tim Cook from Apple, or what's the original guy?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs from Apple. He wears the same shirt every single day, right? It's because one less decision every single day helps him make better decisions throughout the day, right? And so that's one thing that I took away from the conference was like, how do you get your team aligned with the goal so that everybody can support the daily actions towards that goal, you know?
Yeah. Do you have a defined goal that's made clear to everyone that can support it?
Yeah.
It's good.
Exactly.
It's good.
Because I mean, if you don't, and the people are like, why is he waking up at 6 a.m.? Why is he going to the gym? Why is he making so many videos? And you get home and then they're like, hey, we're just going to go do blah, blah, blah. And you're like, dang it, I had plans to do this, this, and that. But they didn't know it, right? If they did know it and the reason why you needed to do those things, it's so much easier to get that support.
It's almost like the recurring theme across multiple of our podcasts is that effective communication can change your life and your business.
Yeah. In every area of your life.
Yeah.
Whether it be with your client, whether it be with your family, whether it be with yourself, you know, clear communication, having clarity. There was a good, and this sort of goes with what we're talking about. And it was, let's see here. Shoot, sorry guys.
Put the Jeopardy theme song in right here.
The success framework is clarity plus decision to fully commit plus identifying the best proven plan plus execution. Execution equals success, right? So clarity, like we're talking about, like how do we have a clear plan? Decision to fully commit, like we're actually going to commit. It's not just a hobby, right? And then identifying the best proven plan, right? And so a lot of people are just winging it, right? And those are the agents that are getting left to the wayside, are the agents that are just winging it. They're not making a plan. And then there are the agents that are making a plan, but they don't execute.
Yeah. I see it. I see it in especially with it's harder with newer agents. Obviously, if you're established already, you've probably got some business practices. You've worked out the kinks throughout your processes, through your prospecting. You found what works for you. But when you're brand new, right? And as a mentor, I work with a lot of brand new agents. And I've seen just in this, group of 25 mentees that I have, that there's a wide variety of people who, just as you said, there's people who don't plan and therefore don't know what to do and just think that business comes to them. It doesn't work. They go, well, that didn't work. Yeah. Then there's people who plan and we'll talk and I'm like, this is a great business plan. You should absolutely do this. Like, can you do this every week? Yeah. Then they don't execute. So there's people who don't plan, people who plan who don't execute, and they all kind of fall into the same category of it just didn't work out. Well, and I can't help but think that if they would have done the action consistently, I wonder where their business would be.
And the ingredient to a successful plan is commitment, right? Because if you commit to that plan, then with consistency, you will be successful. But if you don't, unfortunately, you're not going to be. And what does commitment mean? And this is actually from the conference. Commitment is doing the necessary actions that you must do to get the results you want to get, regardless of your emotional state, right? And you and I have been talking about it over the last couple of weeks. Is we've had several deals fall through, right? And it's such a bummer, But are we staying consistent despite our emotional state, right? It's like, dang it.
You could sit there and go, you know what? Market just sucks. I'm just going to, I'm going to throw in the towel for a little bit and I'm going to wait for things to get better. There's nothing else that I could do to make this better. And that's not the route that we're choosing to take. It's more of, hey, like let's recognize maybe some lessons that we could take away from each one of these. Is there anything that we could have done differently? Let's implement and move on.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I cannot wait when rates drop soon, because they will. September 17th through 18th. Rates should be dropping soon. And we've been doing the work. So guess who's going to get the business? We are.
Yep. Yeah, you can't just pop up after a 7-month absence and go, hey, guys, rates are lower. I know you're ready to work with me. By that time, they've seen they're looking at my videos, bro.
Yep.
Like
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Or at least I'm hoping so if my marketing is doing its job.
Yeah.
So
I just got a great text. One of my deals needs a new roof. So that's great.
Let's go. Is that one of your listings?
Buyer.
Nice. Well, here's the thing. You're a buyer. You're under contract. There's no time like right now to negotiate that stuff because the seller wants to get this thing offloaded. They do.
Yeah.
So more opportunity to be able to get what your buyer needs. Absolutely. If you're in the Austin, Texas market, that's what it's like. I've been joking around online, kind of joking, not really, that it's kind of a ghost town. There's still about like anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 homes that sell every month, but there's instantly new inventory that replaces that. So we're maintaining that level of 14,500 to 15,000 homes on the market at any given time, which is a lot for our area. If the demand was up, that wouldn't seem like a lot, but again, you got election year, you got rate, home prices coming down just a little, home prices are coming down slowly, but not enough to offset where the interest rates are currently. I'm encouraged. We went to a training last Friday with Supreme Lending, and they've been in the business for like 20 plus years. Really great guys. They really keep a pulse on the market. And I left that meeting feeling encouraged. And I know that the Wolfpack members that attended did as well, where they said they feel like we're entering into a more favorable 18 months than the last 18 months. They said everything points to lower rates coming up. Mm-hmm. And that brings optimism. They went over like our jobs, our unemployment rate, and in Austin specifically. And they said these are all things that are indicative of a healthy place to be in a good market.
That's great.
So if rates can come down, that gives a jolt to buyers, and that's I mean, I think if we hit sub 6, which we're very close, I think we're at 6.11% right now as of this recording. I think when you start leading with a 5, people start getting interested again.
I hope so.
Me too.
So we'll see it. We'll see, you know.
Yeah, like I said, I think if you need some encouragement, talk to your lender partners. If you're not getting good information about what's happening in the rates market and what data feeds into the rates, like it was so cool to hear them talk about like how good news and like how they kind of like bake in the anticipated moves ahead of time, and the news can like move it just a little bit as opposed to really drastic changes. Like drastic drops in rates is not good. Actually, that means some really bad data has come out. So, and things have to get bad for rates to get better.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you really want unemployment up? Do you want like national inflation index to be out of control? No. So, you know,
Seen any changes with the new NAR settlement for you with clients?
yeah, the conversation's coming up. I mean, it's coming up. It's all about, I've had to sit there and double check myself and say, can I do this? Because I had it was the first time I've ever had an unrepresented buyer want to look at one of my listings like privately. And I was like, man, do I take the safe route and just like give this to this lead to another person, or should I go ahead and take this on? Yeah. So it's just kind of forcing some situations and some conversations that I haven't had to do before, but I'm getting more, like me personally, I'm getting more comfortable with it. I think from my team's perspective, I've been getting feedback about, funny enough, Timberly the other night had someone message her who said something completely false. She said, one, are your sellers willing to pay buyer, or are your sellers paying buyer's agency?
Oh, yeah.
And all she said, and this is the right thing to do, because think about this. Do you want to, like, if your seller hasn't set a specific amount, because if they do, then absolutely, like, you can say it. But your goal as the listing agent is to net as much money for your client as possible. So all you have to say is put what you need in an offer. That's a safe statement. Yeah. That's not controversial. That's not refusing to cooperate. It's just, what do you need, and put it into the offer. And this agent had such a hard time wrapping her head around it. She goes, I've talked to 20, we've looked at 20 other homes, and you're the only one not offering commissions. And she goes, I didn't say I'm not offering commissions. I said, put what you need in an offer. Yeah. Rather that, like, it blows my mind that an agent won't write up the offer that their client needs and wants to hear up front that you're going to get.
There's crazy people all over the world that there's doctors, lawyers, presidents, friggin' politicians that don't understand things. And unfortunately, you know, they'll see a headline and think of it as one thing, you know? And so that really is just an education problem.
Yeah, it is. Cause she was like, also EXP, since it's an EXP listing, you're not paying commissions or something. And it's like, no, that's ridiculous.
It's false.
Anyway, we won't get into that. It's false. It's not true.
Yeah. Jealousy. I remember when I used to kick butt in basketball, people used to say stuff about, I don't know, my shot or whatever, but I was still winning.
I mean, my thing is like, it's literally just semantics and paperwork. Yeah. It's moving instead of it being, let's just say,
the seller's agent paying out both, which is literally what the NAR settlement is about, commingling.
Yeah.
The seller, not the seller's agent, the seller is paying the buyer's agent and the seller's agent, right? So instead of...
all it does is it removes the buyer's agency commission from having anything to do with the listing. That's it. You're making an agreement as the seller to pay the buyer's broker. Exactly. Write it into the offer. It gets negotiated. You either agree upon it or you don't, and you move on. Like,
exactly.
I've never understood why people have such an issue with it. It's not that complicated. And in fact, another thing about the NAR settlement is one of your partners, Kyle, one of my mentees, shout out Kyle, crushing it as a new agent. He said, I see this as an opportunity to make more money. I was like, tell me more. And he said, think about it. Like, I can actually get a buyer representation agreement for, let's say, 4%. And if you used to only charge 3%, again, no standards, but let's just say if you're used to charging 3 and you charge 4 and now your buyer only needs to pay an extra 1% and you just made like you're making it more appealing. I don't know. There's just all different ways to make it appealing.
Yeah, if you're bringing the value, why not? You know, but that's up to everybody, and there's no standard.
Too many agents are taking this as a pay cut. They're taking we're rolling over and going, you got us. I'm not valuable. Zillow can open doors just like I can, and that's all I bring to the table.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Take pride in what you bring to your clients.
100%.
And charge what you're worth. Be confident in the value that you bring. I don't want to hear anything about flat rate, about discount brokers. Those things have always existed. And did it prevent you from getting business in the past? Not with anyone that I want to work with. No. So there we go. Yeah. Go out and go get it. Stop making excuses.
Well, that's the episode, guys. I'm just kidding. No, but for real, I do want to sort of wrap it up early.
Yeah, let's do it.
But thank you guys for listening. And, there's a lot of changes going on in this market, and we want to be at the forefront of finding solutions. So, like I said, follow Jordan on Instagram.
At Jordan Sells ATX.
And myself at John Michael Perez on Instagram. And we just want to be a resource for you guys. We genuinely have fun, and we enjoy helping agents. And we've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, I think over a year and a half now.
Well, real estate. I'm talking about real estate.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so we've experienced a lot of things, and so shoot us a message. Set up
also Real Estate Virgins podcast on Instagram. We haven't even said that we have a Real Estate Virgins podcast Instagram. So.
Also, if y'all want to do like a free 15-minute coaching call, we'd be down to jump on and just help, guys. We're here. We're here
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, if you learned anything in this episode that you think, or you heard something that might be helpful to an agent that you know, feel free to hit that share button, send them the episode. We're rooting for you guys. We got this. Hey, transactions down 40%. I don't care. We're going to win. We're going to get through this. We're going to crush it in 2024 and beyond. Thank you guys so much. We love y'all.